Alright, so this is going to be a little discussion, per se, on the state of ranked and my impressions after playing maybe for, how long has it been out now? About 3 days or so? And I've played loads of games, if you have a look. I played 100 battles in those 3 days. Now you can tell how good of a player I am because I'm still ranked. Well, no, I've gotten up to ranked 11, obviously, at this point. But the games just feel so yo-yo-y. It's either win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, or win 2, lose 2, win 2, lose 2. But that being said, like the battles, they feel so distinctly different from random battles. Even random battles where there's like a lot fewer players, they feel distinctly different. And I suppose I can give a few reasons as to why I think that is. One, obviously the Smolensk's been in the game. Oh my god, this ship. You're lucky if you don't get one in your game. You're extremely lucky if you don't get one in a ranked game. Usually it's 2 or 3, maybe 4 sometimes. And trying to play even the Thunder, one of the strongest HE battleships in the game, is absolutely horrifying if you get anywhere within range of a Smolensk, which is around 15 kilometers, so more than likely you are probably going to get it within range of a Smolensk. That being said, I've mostly been playing the Gearing, the Thunder, so like the worst feeling is when you lose a game that you should be winning, and it happens so often in ranked because random battles players just take that same mentality of kind of like YOLO and take it into ranked, where their actual decision making matters so much more. In a random battle, it doesn't matter all that much. I mean, like, you're one of 12 players. There's only a limited amount of effect you can have on the game, but when you lessen the amount of players, obviously, as I said in my last video, you actually heighten the impactfulness of any decision that you make as a player, just by the virtue of having less players. So that's been happening. We have it a lot. I've seen a lot of shimikazes kind of like suiciding, trying to cap for some reason, and stuff like just really strange stuff. And I don't know if it's a situation of like newer players just reaching tier 10 or rentals or whatever. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it so far. I have been enjoying it. I love competitive games. I love the competitive aspect of any game. So I love ranked mode overall. That's why I played 100 battles in, 3 days? But it is the weekend. But yeah, one thing that actually surprised me though is that CVs aren't as impactful as they used to be. Well, as they are in random battles. Obviously, you can't really flank. With them being in the game, but they aren't actually in that many games, and when they are, they're kind of so. So I haven't actually had a lot of bad things to say about them. But with that being said, here we have the Thunder. It's going to be the focus of today's video. Had a pretty interesting game in it not so long ago. I think it was around rank 10, or close to rank 9. So without further ado, we'll get into that. Alright, so we're in the Thunder. We're pushing out. As you do. We all found out we have 2 shimikazes. We have a Gearing, Smolensk, obviously, Venezia, and 2 Yamatos, along with myself, the Thunder. On enemy team, the Conqueror, Kurfürst, Yamato, Worcester, Stalingrad, Gearing, Somers, and Haragumo. So again, the way... And one thing I failed to mention actually is that matchmaking is, and the type of ships that get put against each other is really important in ranked battles. As you can see, we have the Gearing and 2 shimikazes, whereas they have a Gearing, a Somers, and a Haragumo. Now we have no DD that can actually deal with the Haragumo, so that's going to be a real sticking point and a real issue the longer the game goes on. And in an ideal world, this would actually be a huge issue, but again, when you account for the variance in how people play, it's not going to be all that much difference. And now that's something you don't see very often. Getting a citadel on a curve first. 2 citadels. It's strange because I got one I think earlier today too. On a curve first again, but these citadels were kind of explainable because I'm far away, 18 kilometers. The shells plunge, so it's not impossible that the citadel. The one I got today was like a curve first from like 10 kilometers away. Not even flat broadside, and I just penned them. So yeah, definitely some strange things happening. So they had to open up in the Stalingrad. And I have been getting more into using the IP in the ship. I was a bit of a noob when I first got this ship, and I was just basically a HE spammer. And that's not terrible because the HE is really good on this ship. But yeah, I'm starting to get used to just switching between shell types a lot more often. And at this point, I realized the Shimakaze decided to come down my side of the map. The enemy wait, no, not the enemy Shimakaze. The enemy Sommers. And the enemy Gearing, actually. So I'm getting a little bit agitated with the Gearing and his positioning. It's kind of really far out of the way. I would actually prefer if he kind of sticked a little bit closer to us, maybe kind of spotted a little bit. Because me with these HE shells, I can pretty much 100 to 0 DD if it pops up in front of me. That being said, our job, or my job right now, is just try and hold this point, hold B as long as possible, and hopefully the other side of the map will actually start to win and start to push in. Which is a lot to ask, believe you me, playing ranked. But effectively that's all we can hope for. We take some pot shots at the Yamato, not really all that effective, again. Strangely enough, I've had a lot more difficulty trying to citadel the Yamato than I have with the curve first, if you can actually believe that. But then again, that usually comes down to my bad aim, not actually anything with the ships. That being said though, I start reversing. I go undetected because, again, there's no point in continuing firing. I'll just end up dead. And hopefully I can kind of remove myself so far from the battle that it's not actually worth it for the ship to start opening up on me. And hopefully they focus the other 2 Yamatos right in front of me. So we see the Worcester pop up and going undetected. Again, you're looking for any opportunity to crossfire. Crossfire is so effective on these maps because the maps are so small. Well, not so small, but the orientation of the caps makes it so that the team's always split in 2. So any chance you can get to actually flank or you know, create a crossfire is really important. But again, we're just taking any opportunities we see. We see the curvers slowly start to turn out. And that feels so good. Now at this point I think, okay, well, it was fun. See you later. So I quickly get a shot off, but just in time, I managed to survive. And we get a decent shot in the curve first also. We're up to 83k, again, which is pretty decent in a ranked battle. Obviously the goal is obviously in a battleship probably over 100k every game. In this 8v8 game mode. But now we've kind of successfully removed ourselves far enough that we're not getting focused when we shoot. And we're able to slowly start opening up on targets. Alongside this, we've also defended B, which is our main goal. And if you look on the other side of the map at A, we can see that the Shimakaze, the Veneza, and the Smolensk are slowly starting to create a crossfire. And this is going to be really beneficial. And this is where the game's slowly starting to turn in our side, or in our favour. Now we have lost 2 DDs. We have lost the Shimakaze, and we have lost the Gearing. And I don't know how the Gearing managed to die right here. That's kind of interesting. Um, but we do have the Shimikaze, so we can create those cross-torp situations. And obviously we have the Smolensk, so we definitely can start fires. And again, you can see here, I probably shouldn't be shooting HE at this curve first. I really need to start working on using, or being in the creating the opportunities where I can actually switch shells really quickly, or have the right shell in the right situation. I actually made a mistake with my captain perks, where I actually failed to take the captain skill where it reduces the reload of the main guns if they aren't fired or something, or if they aren't on cooldown by 50%. So I'm going to respec in that, hopefully, and that should solve a lot of the problems that I have. Because this is one of the main issues, is that you never have the right shell type selected when the ship actually prevents this full broadside in front of you. And then we see the Yamato pushing up. At this point they really kind of have to push, because they can't deal with the Shimikaze cross-torping them. The Somers is fairly exposed in that situation. And we haven't actually seen much of the gearing, which is fairly odd. Especially when you consider that the 3 battleships alone on this side of the map basically all corner together. I know if I was playing the gearing, I would be basically right here, torping all day long. But speaking of torps, we see the gearing obviously torping straight at us, which means he's on this flank right here. Just based on the angle of which they come at us, you can see where they were launched from. And again, just focusing down the Yamato, making sure they can't push too hard. If they do manage to get into the cap, we can always just keep resetting. And this is like, this kind of extends to like random battles too. Like, your job isn't to be Rambo playing the Thunder. You're basically sitting long range, either kind of spamming HE or using your incredible AP, much better than the Conquerors, to actually punish ships that think they can turn full broadside. Again, we pick up the kill in the Yamato, and with this, at this point, the flank was successful. The gearing wasn't able to get all that many torp hits, and thus wasn't able to actually get all that many kills. I think the Yama does go down here. Nope, just about survives. But with that, the flank is successful. The gearing pops his head up, so we immediately turn to him. Now you have to take into consideration that he just uses torps, so I'm going to go straight for him, because that's about a 1 minute and 20 second cooldown, so I do have time to actually push him. In the meantime, we're going to actually focus the Conqueror a little bit. We have AP loaded, which is the correct shell type, and we're just going to start opening up on him. Again, we have 100 points to go. The gearing thinks he can push into B. Now I know I'm pushing straight at the gearing. I'm going to have HE loaded, because he's going to pop up by the time that my shells come off cooldown. So that's why I immediately switched to HE. And I'm hoping to get into cap before the gearing gets spotted. Or before the gearing caps it, but the Veneza bet me to it. So, and it looks like the Conqueror's about to go down. Gearing dies, Conqueror dies, and it's GG. And I'll see you in the next one.